Hello, and welcome to our demo of Cognita, the first AI assistant for Protecht ERN. I'll be taking you through the main features for Cognita in Release 13 as of November 2025, but we have a jam-packed roadmap of exciting enhancements, so lots more to see. Watch this space. Speaking of watch this space, you should be able to see on your screen Protecht ERN. In the bottom right-hand corner, you'll see the new Cognita tab. If I click on that, the chat interface will open. I can open and close that chat at any time, and it won't clear the conversation that I'm having. It will just temporarily hide it. You will get a new chat for every session when you log in to ERN. It will clear the chat every time you log out of ERN. So you're always working for the moment from a blank slate. You can see that we've got some welcome text and some example prompts. Those example prompts are designed to help users who are perhaps not as familiar with chatbots and AI, or maybe just not as familiar with ERN. And the idea is that they will help users understand the sorts of things that Cognita can help with and the sort of functionality that ERN offers. They are context specific, so if I jump to the My Tasks screen, you'll see that they change to questions that I can ask Cognita about the tasks that I have coming up or overdue. I can click on any of those, or I can enter my own questions about any of those topics and get an answer from Cognita. But if I jump back to home and hit help me report an incident, it's going to check the site menu for this example of ERN, and it's going to provide me with some options that I can click on. Each time it takes the user to a location in ERN, it does so on the basis of the particular site menu for ERN. That means that Cognita will support however you have set up ERN in terms of your site menu. It does not have to be a cookie cutter out of the box instance of ERN for Cognita to be able to support users with a natural language way to navigate around it. It has brought me to a simplified incident reporting form. One of the reasons we started with incidents for the Cognita roadmap is because we know this is an example of a use case where the users who are logging incidents are often users who are not experts with ERN or experts with the risk and compliance domain. And being only occasional users of the system, they need a little bit more support to get you the information that you need so that you can make the decisions that you need to make. The nice thing about this form is that it's got a single text field where I can provide a stream of conscious narrative. I can pour my heart out about whatever I saw or whatever happened. If I don't know what to say, I can use the expand collapse box to see suggestions about the kinds of information that you will want them to be providing. And I can also upload supporting images. That is an optional feature that will only be visible if the target register also has an attachment field, and that's for chain of custody reasons. So if you upload an image here, we want to be able to attach it on the final incident. But for the moment, I'm going to type in an incident that I have prepared earlier, and I'm going to hit Analyze My Description. Cognita is taking the description and it is comparing it with the register structure for my incident register, so it can work out where to put which bits of information in which field. Again, this is an example of where Cognita is designed to support however you have customized ERN. So you might have a completely bespoke incident register, and as long as we recognize that as an incident register, Cognita can help your users. On the right-hand side, you'll see that in the chat, it's quoting back to me the incident description that I just provided. And that's important because it allows me to do a side-by-side comparison with what's in the register and what I originally told Cognita. Up the top in the core area, you'll see some read-only system-generated metadata that tells me that I, as the human user, created this entry with Cognita. That is reportable data. You can audit that data. It's also visible as a separate column in the registered grid view elsewhere inside ERN. You'll also note that we have a series of buttons inside the register. Any field that Cognita could help you with but has not yet filled is labeled Suggest. I could click those. Any field that Cognita has already drafted a response for based on my initial incident description is labeled drafted by AI. If I hit suggest on the incident identification button, you'll see that it will show me a suggested response in the chat, which I can accept or reject. If I hit accept, it will populate that for me and it will change from suggest to drafted by AI. If I manually edit a field, so I'll hit today's date there for date incident contained, you'll see that that label changed to user modified. This is important because of our design philosophy around Cognita. It's important to us that we have meaningful human-in-the-loop control and interaction. Users should be able to see at a glance what the AI has done, where the information has come from, and it should be reflected back to them in how it's displayed. It's important that as the human user, I review everything that Cognita has said, and I agree with it or edit it before saving it to the system. That's what we mean by meaningful human-in-the-loop interaction. I'm still accountable as the human user, even though I have accepted assistance from Cognita. I'm going to complete some of these mandatory fields, and then I am going to hit save. Okay, so that's fairly straightforward. Now I'm going to step out of that persona logging the incident, and I'm going to move into the persona of the user who is responding to the incident. So I've jumped in here not a minute later, and one of the first things I'm going to want to know as a responding user is whether or not this incident is a duplicate and has already been logged, or perhaps it is part of a cluster that we're seeing arise across the business or a trend over time. And so one of the best ways I can do that is by looking at whether it has any related incidents. If I hit suggest on the associated incidents field and then find related incidents in the chat, Cognita is going to go away and check the historical database of incidents. So when we turn Cognita on, which you can do on a register by register basis, it will ingest the historical records against that register, and it will create this database that allows you to look for similar incidents. In the chat, if I click on one of these hyperlinks, a new tab will open, and I can review that incident in full to determine if it is, in fact, similar to the one that I just was looking at. I will still, at this point, need to manually add that incident. So I'm going to add it here, 10, 11, 9, 20. Click add. And 10, 11, 9, 20. The reason I am doing this is because once I have added this as a linked incident, I can demonstrate to you another one of Cognita's value props. If I hit that button again, you will see that I now have two options. I can find more related incidents. So if I think there are many more that are similar, I can keep going. Or I can hit summarize linked incidents. Cognita will then take what I've got in the open incident in front of me and look at the linked incidents that I've added, and it will provide a summary of all the ways in which those incidents are similar or different. And that's really useful because say you've come in a week later, 6 months later, 6 years later, and you want to quickly get up to speed with what has happened with a particular group of incidents, this will do that for you very quickly. All right, I am going to hit save, and I'm going to move on to another important aspect of responding to an incident. Being able to identify the causes, risks, and controls associated with that incident. I can use the suggest button on the root cause summary field to get a written description of the probable root causes of this incident, and I can accept or reject that. That's nice and quick. I don't have to type anything. I can also use the suggest button on the central library fields. So that will go away and it will check my central libraries within this ERM instance. So again, customized to the way you have set up your libraries. And it will suggest to me some of the items that might be relevant here. If I open one of these chevrons, you can see more information about each of these items. It's drawing that metadata from your central library. So the more that you populate the items in your central library, the more information will appear here and the more information that the user has to go on when they're deciding whether or not something is relevant. You will still have to manually add those items at this stage, which looks somewhat like it did when we linked the incident. But in future releases, we will look at allowing you to add them from the chat or a similar frictionless experience. I will also take this opportunity to point out that we have supported the cause library, the risk library, but we've only supported the new controls library. So if you haven't yet upgraded to the new controls library, this might be a good opportunity to do that. Because it is new and improved, it is slightly different behavior to the other libraries. It will provide you with a hyperlinked citation, as it were, of the controls library item so that you can click on it and jump straight into the item and determine if you think that it is relevant. Okay. I'm now going to move on to the next big value proposition for Cognita, which is the ability to ask questions. So I'm going to start a new chat. I can do that at any time. I don't have to. As I said, it will clear the chat whenever I log out of Cognita, but I sometimes like to do this just to work from my own mental blank tablet, as it were. So if I hit what's the difference between inherent and residual risk, that might be the sort of question that you expect your business users to know already or not. Maybe they weren't paying attention in the training that you gave them 6 months ago, and maybe they were checking their email. So this is a really good way for them to be able to discreetly ask questions that they may be embarrassed about, or maybe it's the middle of the night and they've jumped into ERM because they've forgotten that they have some tasks due and they're trying to knock them out quickly. And instead of getting stymied by not understanding exactly what you mean, they can check with Cognita about some of this terminology, use that information immediately, and then hopefully that will cement that also in their head as well for future. They can get the answer from Cognita, see it in the chat, show more, or they can continue their reading by clicking on one of these hyperlinked citations. Cognita has been given access to a knowledge base of content that has been vetted by Protecht. So it will be help documentation, blogs, ebooks, and academy courses about risk and compliance. We've done that because that means that we can ensure that Cognita only has access to authoritative content on risk and compliance, and it's not just grabbing information from Wikipedia, for example. That knowledge base will grow over time. We have also applied some guardrails. We don't want to be providing your users with legal advice. You want to make sure that you're in control of that. So if you ask a question that strays into the area of legal advice, you will see that Cognita says that it can't help you with that, and it will refer you back to your own legal and compliance team. Other guardrails include the automatic redaction of sensitive financial information. So as the user might type into the chat some information, say it's a fraud incident, they might try to log an incident and refer to a specific account number or a specific credit card number, then we will detect that account number or credit card number, and we will automatically redact it so that it is not sent to the model. The same goes for any kind of sensitive information in your historical incident register. We will, when we ingest it, redact any of that kind of information so that it is not sent to the model. It is not part of the historical database. And finally, we always put in a last mile check on the user's permissions. So again, we are ensuring Cognita is supporting the way you have customized ERM, and it is preventing itself from providing the user with any information or taking the user to any location that you don't think the user should be able to access or see. I hope that that was informative and that you're as excited about Cognita as I am. As I said, we have an extensive roadmap that we're excited to get out the door. If you'd like to know more, please let us know. Thank you.